Honestly, did anybody expect that the Reverie arc was going to be this freaking epic? Greetings, my fellow Nakama, and welcome to my review of the One Piece manga series. Today we're going to be taking a look at chapters 905 through 908. Yes, we're going to be looking at multiple chapters of One Piece. Why? Because I have been really busy over the last month and haven't had an opportunity to look at these chapters and dive into them, but I finally had an opportunity to read through all of this stuff and get a much firmer understanding of everything that's going on in this arc. And guys, big things are going on in the Reverie arc. Not only do we get to see the return of a lot of classic characters, but we also get the introduction of some brand new key ones. That's right, not only is there just a brand new admiral who's been introduced in this arc, which by itself would have been pretty exciting for the fans. However, in the most recent chapter of One Piece, we get the revelation that there is actually a single ruler for the entire world government. Someone who is actually above the Gorosei, the elders of the world government. And it is some sort of being which the fan base is referring to as M or Eem. And I don't know what the deal is with this character, but they have Rinnegan from Naruto. Yes, they have Rinnegan eyes. Actually, they're kind of similar to Dracul Mihawks. That's kind of the thing that I actually get from this character. But the fact that we're getting the introduction of what could possibly be the true final villain of the One Piece series is just mind-blowing. It's something that I never really expected to see, and that's because in the back of my mind, I just always assumed that Blackbeard was going to be sort of like the big final opponent for Luffy, but we could just be being witness to the introduction of someone even crazier than that, and we don't really get a good look at them yet either. And they also have one of the weirdest designs that I've ever seen. This Eem individual is very tall, has a ridiculous over-the-top crown which stretches way too high up in the sky, and then the actual eyes we see, but we see none of the face. I don't know what the deal is with this ruler, but there's also the implication that this ruler has the ability to wipe people out, and this might be connected to the forgotten history of the One Piece world. There's so much that they introduced just in the most latest chapter that it's insane, but we have to talk about some of the other elements. So Reverie, of course, is this big ceremony where all of these different kings and kingdoms come together for a big, massive conference, which means, of course, lots and lots of cameos from characters and lots of scenarios that I'm very excited to see. Like, we have this big scene where basically all of the princesses from the One Piece universe have come together and they meet each other. And they all have a connection to the Straw Hat Pirates, they all know Luffy, and it's a really great moment. I mean, not only do we have Vivi meeting Rebecca, but we have Shirahoshi, we have Princess Mancherry of the Tontata tribe. It is really satisfying to see all of these characters come together. But we also get to see the return of some very massive douchebags, such as the Celestial Dragons. We get the return of Charlos. Remember him? The guy that Luffy absolutely decked to all hell back in the Shabandi Archipelago arc? Yeah, he returns, and guess what? He gets his face smashed in again, which is really satisfying. He's actually trying to capture Princess Shirahoshi because he's been looking for a mermaid, and she's a big-ass mermaid, so he really wants her bad. But this is when we get the return of Miarscard, Don Quixote, who is another celestial dragon that we've seen in the series, who has sort of reformed himself from being considered a god and just wants to be considered a human, just like most everybody else in the series. But he actually ends up defending Shirahoshi and fighting off Charlos and taking the blame. Knowing that he's a celestial dragon, he'll probably be able to get away with this. It's also worth mentioning during the scene where Charlos is actually trying to capture Princess Shirahoshi that we get the return of Cypher Pole Zero, which also means we get to see more of Rob Lucci. And I expected his character to be a little more reformed. In many ways, he's just as evil as he's always been, maybe even more so, as he's completely okay with allowing the Celestial Dragons to abuse their power in every single way. Another thing that I really loved about this episode is how many different factions we actually have involved in this storyline right here. I mean, of course, we have the world government, the Celestial Dragons, but we also have the revolutionaries who are involved involved here. Freaking Sabo is here, dressed up as a knight. He's also joined by a couple of the commanders of the actual revolutionaries, like Morley, who is actually hiding all of them underneath all of this thanks to his unique ability to mold the ground and everything. You have Lindbergh, you have Karas, who is also there, so this is going to be basically another reason to see these guys in action, which I think is really freaking cool, man. We also get another big surprise in one of the chapters which has no follow-up on whatsoever. So all of the five elders are hanging out in their weird room as they always are, when suddenly they're confronted by red-haired Shanks, who wants to discuss something with them, something about a certain pirate. I have a feeling it's probably going to be Luffy, but it could be Blackbeard. It could be another mysterious character that we don't know about. It's completely mysterious, and we don't even get to see their conversation because in the next chapter, the Gorosei go to meet Im, the supposed leader of the entire freaking world government. A mysterious leader, I might add, and one of the best things about this chapter. There are a ton of other details that we'll talk about a little bit more in the rundown of all these chapters of One Piece. There are so many little details here that it's hard to miss, and really, I just don't have the time to talk about all of them. What I will say is that this was a great collective of some of the best characters from the entire series, and it was fantastic to see the influence that Luffy and the Straw Hat crew has actually had on a lot of these people. You can definitely tell how much they've actually been affected in their lives. It's also an excuse just to see a lot of your favorites, even some of the weird ones, like the return of Wapol, the villain from the Drum Island arc, and he's just as much of a douchebag as he's always been. But it was also great to see King Dalton return with Dr. Kureha. It was also fantastic to see all of the princess characters recalling the moments where Luffy actually managed to have an impact on their lives. But the thing that most people are going to be talking about are two big elements. One of them being, of course, the introduction of this leader of the world government who may or may not have plans to either kill Shirahoshi, Blackbeard, Luffy, or maybe even Vivi. Their plan is they're going to have to erase someone from existence. This is all a complete and utter mystery at the moment, but it's definitely going to get the fan base talking. But another one of the big details is this weird scene where we go to Impel Down, the prison of the series, and Doflamingo's at the bottom and he's talking to Magellan, the Poison Man, and he's recounting about the fact that the world government has a secret treasure. A sacred treasure which is supposedly losing power. And in one of the chapters, they actually confirmed that this treasure is some sort of giant straw hat. The leader of the world government is standing next to it. This is actually the first introduction of this character, and we get this shot of them from behind holding on to Luffy's wanted poster and looking at this massive straw hat. I'm not sure what the implication here is of what this secret treasure is, who it belongs to, what its connection truly is, but it has something to do with Gold Roger and, of course, the actual Straw Hats themselves. Could this have something to do with the Will of D? Could this have something to do with the erased history of the series? Inquiring minds want to know, and I'm not much of a theorist to really come up with anything cool. What I will say is, however, that it's a big moment for the series to actually see something like that. You know, we could be getting this much closer to truly finding out what One Piece is at this point. I was almost fully convinced that at one point, One Piece was actually just the hat itself, and it was all just some sort of big hidden meaning to something else. Maybe this could be a hint towards that, but we're getting this much closer, I think, to the end game of One Piece, and I think that this arc right here is going to be planting the seeds for all of that. And man, it is doing a great job of doing that so far, I really have to say. I expected this Reverie arc to be completely boring. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of dudes talking at a table, but it's been completely over the top and fun in the best ways possible, with returns of some of the best characters from the series, and sort of culminating everything which has been building up to this moment, as well as the introduction of new characters and supposedly a big bad final villain for the series. What more can I say, guys? These chapters are awesome. I would actually have to talk for 2 hours to fully give my thoughts about these chapters, but I love them. I'm back on track. I'm going to try to make sure that these One Piece reviews are going to be more consistent from now on. And that's why I'm going to give this chapter right here a 5 out of 5. That's right. Loved this one right here, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Tell me all of them in the comment section below. Tell me about your theories about what Shanks was talking with the Gorosei. What is the deal with this leader with the Rinnegan eyes involved with the world government? They made it seem like no king was actually going to stay on that throne, but here he is right here. What's his deal? What do you guys want to see from the rest of the Reverie arc? Let's start a big discussion about all these chapters in the comment section below. If I missed anything, I do apologize. Like I said, for the future, I will try to be more consistent, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel for tons of other anime and manga reviews. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.